Good morning. I'm calling the meeting to order at 8:30 a.m. and welcome. In consideration of others in the business conducted today, please silence your phones and any electronic devices and refrain from speaking unless recognized by the chair. Again, this is a public meeting for the community of Glendora. We appreciate and respect your presence here this morning. Roll call, please.
Thank you. Hold on one second. Okay, I will now conduct an oral roll call and request that each board member respond with present when their name is called. Board Member Jarvis.
Present.
Board Member Klingler.
Present.
Board Member Nolan.
Present.
And Chair Snyder is absent. We do have a quorum. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I guess Member Klinger, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yep. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Reordering of and additions to the agenda. Does anyone wish to reorder or add to the agenda? As there's none, we'll move on. Public comments, open public comment period. I now invite members of the public to address the Business Improvement District bid board. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, speaking once, both on and off agenda items. Do we have any?
No, at this time, we've received no request to give public comment on email, note cards, or via Zoom.
Okay. Do I read all that part? Yeah. All questions should be directed through the presiding officer. This is your time to speak uninterrupted. No, yes or no? Keep going on that.
We've received no comments. So we can
Okay,
move on to the
okay,
next one.
sorry. So it's to the staff now, right? Oh, wait, no, you did. Okay. Board and statement reports. Invite each board member, if you have anything to say, this would be the time to say.
Nothing to report.
I'd just like to say that the Halloween walk is shaping up. We've had a couple of meetings so far. We've got sponsors. Things are lining up, so I'm very excited.
Great. Thank you. Director, staff liaison and attorney statements, and invite Community Development Director Jeff Kugel and Housing and Economic Development Manager Valerie Velasquez to provide a statement.
I just want to say good morning, and I wanted to introduce you to Alicia Zuniga. She is our new management analyst in community development, economic development and housing. So she will be assisting with the bid as well. She'll be a familiar face you'll be seeing. So welcome her. She'll be giving some reports today as well.
Great, thanks.
And I also wanted to report on Tuesday night, the Planning Commission held a public hearing on the outdoor dining ordinance. And they accepted, they're forwarding the bids recommendation on the changes regarding the sidewalk width to the city council as part of the ordinance that they will hear. So I think we're going to schedule that. We have some additional items that we need to research and incorporate into the report to the council on the ordinance, but we anticipate that we'll present the ordinance to the council for adoption in November. And so the way an ordinance adoption works is there's a public hearing, and that's the first, what's called the first reading. And then because it's a local law, there has to be a second reading of the ordinance, which will happen at a subsequent meeting. And then 30 days after the second reading, the ordinance becomes the law of the city. And so I'd expect that the new ordinance will become the law of the city probably right after the first of the year. In the meantime, I think that Valerie and Alicia are going to be reaching out to some of the restaurants to prepare for the process to do the new agreements. And so just heads up to expect that over the next few months.
Okay, great, thank you. Special item, we have a selection of a vice chair today. So I call on Deputy City Clerk Record Manager Elvia Dominguez to conduct the selection of the vice chair.
Thank you. At this time, I declare the office of vice chair vacant. Nominations are now in order for vice chair. Are there any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Dawn.
I'll second that.
Thank you. If there are no other nominations, Then I declare Don Nolan Vice Chair by acclamation. Congratulations, Don. And, since you're already sitting in the right chair, you can conduct the remainder of the meeting.
All right, thank you. At this point, we will have the Chamber of Commerce update. Call in President CEO Joe Cena to report from the chamber.
Good morning, everybody, and congratulations, Mr. Nolan. They didn't even have to change the name tags there. Thank you for allowing me to speak this evening or this morning. My name is Joe. I'm the president, CEO of the Glendora Chamber of Commerce. The chamber is busy as we usually are. A couple of our upcoming monthly events tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. just north of the village here on Bennett. We're having our coffee mixer at Professional Healthcare Advocates. It's an advocacy company that just helps people guide through their healthcare needs. So if you want to come out and meet them and network up a bit, it's at 8 a.m. And then next Thursday, we have our monthly lunch. It's going to be at Mesa Board down there on Lone Hill, which our speaker is going to be DLL Technology, is going to talk about ADA requirements for websites. As you know, some people have been hit with lawsuits. Another village business was hit with a lawsuit on their website just a couple of weeks ago. So we thought we'd bring this back again because it is a problem. Websites do have to be ADA compliant for the visually impaired. And there's a lot of things you have to do to be able to do it. And it's nearly impossible to be 100%, but you have to at least do something. So if you want to come out and learn more about that, met out on the 13th, all that fun stuff. Then also this afternoon about 12 o'clock, we're having our legislative lunch or meeting where we serve lunch, which we're going to be talking about the upcoming ballot measures. We're going to be going through each one of them. There's a lot of interesting ones, a lot of confusing ones, and a lot of, I'm sure you've seen all the commercials and stuff. And I'm guessing the next couple of weeks, you're going to see even more commercials on TV. So then after that, we'll push out little videos on each one to kind of help explain them and some of the nuances with each of them. So then last month we had our candidates forum for school board here at the Bidwell, which went well. It was standing room only, no fights, nothing like that. So it was good, very professional. Got a lot of calls before and after about it, but people thought it was good. And it is on our YouTube page and has had many views. So if you want to hear more about the different people running, if you're voting for one in your district, because those are in districts too. There are only 2 districts you're voting on, because District 3 was only one person going, so there's really no vote for that one. But so that we were trying to have a state and federal candidate forum, but just couldn't put one together, couldn't get everyone there. So there was another group in town that put one on here on the 1st, but so because there are, our state and congressional districts are up for election. The congressional districts changed a lot too. We at this time we have Judy Chu and Grace Napolitano as our representatives, which right now the dividing line is the 210 freeway south is Napolitano and the 210 freeway north is Chu. This coming election, those lines all changed, where the dividing line is Sierra Madre. So Sierra Madre North is Chu or whoever is elected. And then Sierra Madre South is the other district. So just a small sliver, which is probably one reason why we didn't get a lot of, I don't know, I don't want to go into that part, but we do have 2 Glendorans running for both those offices too. So, so yeah, so check it out. But yeah, all those lines changed. We also continue to promote the new RAMP program, which is called the Regional Alliance Marketplace. This is through the city of Los Angeles, but they spread it out throughout the county to help get vendors for upcoming events coming to the areas such as World Cup Soccer, the Olympics, so on and so forth. As it was found out that the city of Los Angeles really didn't have a good vendor pool. You know, there's hundreds of billions of dollars in contracts that they had a very small vendor pool. So they reorganized that program and had put RAMP together. So they're asking for businesses to sign up for it, to be on that list, and you'll get, you know, requests for quotations out. Now, you don't have to be huge because there's stuff for individual restaurants all the way up to, you know, businesses like Hewitt and Parsons and that kind of stuff, and everything in between, because they're really put it together for the Olympics, because they're saying there's upwards of almost $1 trillion in business between now and then available, and they need people to get those bids. So, so we'll keep sharing that. If you want more information, just let me know. The chamber is also working on a new printed directory. We haven't had one for a few years. You may have been getting emails from the firm that's putting it together for us. It is us. We are doing, I've got a lot of calls about that. So the director will probably be out the first of the year because it takes time to get the advertising and stuff. All of our members will be listed, you know, so you'll be in it. But if you want additional ads, and it will be online too, so there's other web ad version of it too. So if you want information about that, let me know. And then we continue to do everything else that we're doing with the chamber, upcoming events, stuff for next year, our holiday mixer, state of the city, state of the schools, restaurant week, all that kind of fun stuff. So we're right up the street, and anybody has any questions, just let me know. Any questions? No? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. At this point, the consent calendar, does anybody wish to comment on the minutes from our September 1st meeting? If not, do I have a motion in a second to approve those?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. That is a motion by Board Member Klingler, sorry, second by Board Member Jarvis. I'm going to take an oral roll call. Board Member Jarvis,
Yes.
Board Member Klingler,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Nolan.
Yes.
And that passes 3-0. Thank you.
Okay, there are no other agenda items there. Unfinished business, there is no unfinished business at this time. New business, the Business Improvement District Advisory Board Fiscal Year Report. And I would like to invite Management Analyst Alicia Suniga to report on this. And okay.
Good morning. Ian. Good morning, and happy to be with you guys for my first meeting. I'm going to briefly go over the financial report through August 31st, 2022. I did want to note that last month we did go ahead and report on fiscal year 22. However, everything has been posted up to this point. So moving forward, we will be reporting only off of fiscal year 2023. So we're looking at are going to be expenditures through the second month of this fiscal year, which again is August 31st. There hasn't been too much activity through this point. No large annual events have been held. Not too many expenditures have been posted. So the primary revenue is going to be those assessments. The expenditures we are looking at are going to be from Friday Night Twilight, as well as a 1 month worth of marketing consulting. As far as that, there's not too much to report. It's still very early in the fiscal year. Should you have any questions, I can go ahead and take them at this time.
Does anybody have any questions? At this point, then, I request a motion to approve?
I move to approve the.
Second.
Thank you. That is a motion by Board Member Jarvis, second by Board Member Klinger. I'll take a roll call vote. Board Member Jarvis,
Yes.
Board Member Klinger,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nolan.
Yes.
That passes 3-0. Thank you.
At this point, we're going to discuss the 2022 Halloween walk budget. And I'd like to invite Alicia again to report on this.
Good morning again. This year's, I'm sorry, we're going to go and discuss the 2022 Halloween budget for this year. This year's event will be held on Monday, October 31st from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., which it typically is. And like previous years, it's expected to draw a pretty large crowd. The event is included in the fiscal year 2023 bid budget with a line item allocation of $3,500 and is used to purchase all supplies and recreational needs for the event. Similar to previous years, expenditures for this event includes candy, 2 trains, straw bales, step and repeat, a street banner, posters, and costume prizes. The cost to put this event together is estimated at about $4,800. This excludes any sponsor donations that may arise. We're expecting about $1,000, which is going to put the event at $3,800. So this, again, the event is budgeted at $3,500. So with our forecasting, it may go slightly over, which is the intent of this agenda item, is to discuss a potential increase should it be needed. It may not, but should it be needed, we can go ahead and pull that from the miscellaneous line item from the bid budget, which is given an allocation of $22,500. So that's something at this time, if you'd like to discuss. Like I said, not very likely, but should it be, that's a possibility.
What are we looking to add into the budget then? How much?
So the request is just stating that based on estimates and the increases of candy and whatnot, that's primarily the largest expense for this event, and costs have gone up as everything else has. So there's a possibility of the expenditures going over just about $500. So it's not substantial, and we may cover it with sponsorships that are still coming in. So it may not be needed, but we just wanted to be forthright with everyone, let you guys know that that's a possibility. If we need it, we'll just transfer $500 from the miscellaneous account. So again, just wanted to give you guys, notice up front, and then just have you guys approve that should it be needed. We'll just pull it from miscellaneous. The miscellaneous has 22,500, so it can absorb that difference if needed.
Can I make a motion?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve an extra $500 towards the Halloween walk budget.
I'll second that.
Thank you. That is a motion by Board Member Jarvis, second by Board Member Klingler. I'll take a roll call vote. Board Member Jarvis,
Yes.
Board Member Klingler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nolan.
Yes.
That passes 3-0. Thank you.
All right, at this time, I'd like to have a presentation of the city conducted survey of business improvement district and invite Economic Manager Valerie Velasquez to report on this.
Thank you. So as I mentioned briefly at the last meeting, City Council did have a meeting that where we discussed potential of expanding, but really the intent was just to kind of see where the village was, what you guys would like to see, and just kind of get some feedback overall. So I'm going to go through a city conducted survey and kind of just a little bit of background on that. Next slide, please, Lorena. So just to give you a quick background, before the Business Improvement District was a BID, it was originally the Glendora Village Business Association, and that was just a group of merchants who voluntarily pooled their time, their resources, and money to put together a couple events and do some joint marketing. There was just a few that were participating in this, so they came to the city and asked us to go ahead and put together a formal BID, which is what we have today, where all of the merchants pay an assessment, and that is put together, pulled together, and we put on all the events and the marketing and do the landscaping, a little bit of landscaping improvements. So that was formed in 2009 under the Parking and Business Improvement Area Law of 1989. For the most part, the activity is similar. It has grown, and the boundaries of the BID have remained consistent since 2009. Next slide. So fast forward to where we are today, and there is, growth opportunity with projects happening around the city. Of course, we know that the Gold Line Station is coming in, expected to be complete in 2025. And we've seen with cities to the west where stations have been completed that there is economic development, investment, and growth in those areas. The Transportation Division is also working on a people movement project, which is going to provide about 10 miles of pedestrian and bicycle paths that will better connect the village south to where the Gold Line is, as well as west. And so again, the intent of the survey is to kind of just get some feedback on what does the bid envision for the future. Next slide, please. So the survey is kind of broken out into 3 categories. It's going to start off with just general satisfaction where we are today, the current planned activities and the assessments. It's going to focus, second part 2 would be the operation and administration of the bid. And I have a sample of the questions in a following slide, so we'll get into those as well. And then again, lastly is the vision for the future and the growth of the BID. Next slide. So I went ahead and put the questions in here, and I'll try to go through them pretty quickly. And most of these are pretty generic answers, and the full draft survey is in your packet as well, so you can read through those. But in general, how satisfied are you with the activity and programs that the BID provides? Do you feel the assessments are proportional to the benefits and activities received? Do you think that the bid is necessary to support businesses in the village? What activity or programs that the bid currently performs do you think are unnecessary and possibly be discontinued? What activity or programs do you think the bid should add to their annual planning, and which are of greatest value to the BID members? Next slide. So this one, operation administration. What should the city's role be as it pertains to the operation of the BID? And the answers are: city should continue their current role managing the administration and operation of the bid activity. Neutral, no real opinion on the matter. City involvement should be minimal. Collection of the assessments, appointment of the BID board members, and approval of the annual report and assessment process. And then we do a fill in the blank. And the reason for that is that there are other BIDs who operate a little bit differently, where here the city is very involved in the administration and we prepare your reports and bring it forward to you. There are other cities that operate a little bit differently. They have a nonprofit that kind of oversees. So there's a contract between the city and a nonprofit who helps assist and oversee. And so the city is involved with collecting the assessments and dispersing the funds, approving your annual report, but it's much more minimal so that you guys have a little bit more independence.
Can I ask a question there?
Sure.
With the nonprofit involved there, then who pays for the nonprofit from the funds of the bid?
Yes, it could be that way, correct. So, and the next question, do you think the bid would be better off if the city did not assist with admin and operation of the bid? Yes, businesses are less likely to get involved when the city is involved. The bid should hire to manage themselves and conduct their own meetings outside of City Hall with minimal involvement. Neutral, no opinion. Or C, the city should continue to manage the admin and operation of the bid. Next slide. And then this one these are mostly going to be fill in the blanks so we can hear back answers free form from the participants or the responders. But what is your vision for the future of the BID? What changes do you think would improve the bid? How can the city assist with ascertaining those goals? Would you be interested in attending a workshop with your fellow BID neighbors in establishing a vision and steps required to make that vision a reality? And knowing that the Gold Station is coming, as well as the People Movement Project, what are your thoughts on the boundaries, expanding the boundaries of the BID? And so to that question, Dawn, expanding the BID, if that was something that the BID wanted to do, the current membership, we would then go ahead and survey the other businesses in these expanded areas. So down to Route 66 and over to Grand, we'd survey them, kind of see if they're interested in joining the BID, and then what benefits would they like to see? What is going to be something that they'd be willing to pay an assessment for, and what would that assessment be? And we'd have to do a survey on what that assessment is, and some research analysis, and then put that together. And then with the expansion, you'd have additional funds where, yes, we have to provide additional benefits, but pulling the resources, we may be able to hire a nonprofit or another group to help you guys, if that's the direction we heard you wanted to go. Next slide. So I wanted to share this with you guys. If you guys have any feedback on it, if you think there's any questions that we missed that you would like us to add, I'm here to receive your feedback or your input. But otherwise, we will probably be getting this survey out. We'll put a Survey Monkey together, email it out, but we do want to get participation and hear back from as many as possible. So we'll give that some time. And once we don't hear from those we don't hear back from, we'll probably be starting to bug and making some phone calls and walking into stores as well. So I'm going to turn this back over to you guys if you have any questions, input.
Does the city have any plans to develop the area below Foothill towards the Gold Line right now, or?
You want to talk on those plans?
So the only specific plans for development are is the People Movement Project, which involves redesign of the public right-of-way, Glendora Avenue and Foothill Boulevard to, include bike and pedestrian improvements. We're going to be starting, another effort to try to create a vision for what might happen on private property. Most cities have, when the Gold Line or light transit comes, there's a big push to increase density for mixed use development, higher density residential development that brings more people into an area. And so cities often develop some type of plan to express their vision to the private investment sector. And that takes also getting consensus within the community and within the leadership in the community over what type of development that might look like. And so we're at the point where we need to go back out to the community and try to develop some consensus over what type of development that the community would accept, if any, in and around the Gold Line station. And we're going to probably start to do that over the next year. But at this point, we don't know what that looks like.
What was the impetus for the survey? Was it the city council?
Yes, this is directed through city council.
And do you know specifically what they were unhappy about or what they're hoping to see improved?
I think they want to, as I mentioned, I think because a lot of the events and a lot of the activity has been pretty consistent over the years. I think they want to see if the bid has a vision or anything they want to do to grow or do a different direction. And again, with the opportunity for growth and possibility of things changing over the next few years, preparing for that. And do you want to expand the boundaries? Do you guys want to grow? What else? I think they just in general want to hear where if the bid has a vision or if they want to do anything new and different.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I don't know if this is time to talk about this, but the events that we do now crossing Foothill would be very new and challenging, like the wine walk, the holiday stroll. I just don't see people crossing Foothill to keep going down towards the Gold Line. But I'm guessing that's a conversation for when we talk about it.
Right, if that's the direction that you guys want to go, if that's the direction and something that those businesses want to do, they have to agree to come in as well.
Right.
We'd have to go through that whole process. It wouldn't just be like, we want you, you're in now.
Right.
We'd have to go through a process to get them, and similar to the protest vote that we do every year, we'd include them and they'd have the opportunity to protest coming in. And, there's other cities. I mean, I know Claremont's different, but we might not close the street. I don't know. Again, that's all stuff that we'd have to research and look into and organize if that time should come.
Any other comments or questions? Do we have a motion to receive and file this report?
I'd like to make a motion to receive and file.
A second.
Thank you. That is a motion by Board Member Jarvis, second by Board Member Klingler. Take a roll call vote. Board Member Jarvis,
Yes.
Board Member Klingler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nolan.
Yes.
That passes 3-0. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the discussion on the Glendora Village events for the remainder of the 2022-2023 fiscal year. Invite Alicia Zuniga to report on this.
Good morning again. I'll be discussing the events in the village for the remainder of the fiscal year. Next slide, please, Lorna. So the fiscal year 23 annual plan does include a bid budget for 6 events. Each year, these events are pretty regular. The first being the Halloween Walk, which occurs in October, the Holiday Stroll, which occurs November through December, Small Business Saturday in November, the Wine Walk, which is the largest event occurring typically in March. This year it didn't happen in March, but we're looking to bring it back in March. The Chalk Festival in April, and Friday Night Twilight, June through August. As just to briefly go over the upcoming events, which will be happening and already in effect, or we're assuming they're going to be happening. Let's start with the Halloween Walk, which is going to be happening on Monday, October 31st, from 10 to 2. That budget is $3,500. There is an event chair and a committee, and like I mentioned, that is already in the works. Next would be the Holiday Stroll, excuse me, and Santa in the Village, which will be happening Friday, November 18th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. and has a budget of $18,000 and would also need an event chair and committee. The events requiring additional coordination and participation, which are the ones that we're primarily looking at this morning, are going to be Small Business Saturday, the Wine Walk, and the Chalk Festival. So first, Small Business Saturday has a budget of $4,000. It's held typically the first Saturday after Thanksgiving. This year it would fall on November 26th, which again is a Saturday, and kicks off the busiest shopping season of the year, as well as encourages holiday shoppers to shop local brick and mortar. This event does require an event chair who would develop an event plan showcasing businesses in the village. So again, this event would require quite a bit of participation, and that's pretty much what we're looking to discuss today. This includes a scavenger hunt, coupon book, and special activities would be some of the tasks that would need to be taken on. Next slide, please. The next, we're looking at the Wine Walk, which again is the largest event that the bid holds, typically held in March, the Saturday before daylight savings time. The budget for this event is $20,000, and it generates an estimated $40,000. This also requires an event committee, as it does require months of planning. Staff is suggesting that the committee should be formed around December, just to give everyone time to get everything in the works. As previous committee members are not available at this time and will not be returning for this year's Wine Walk. The Chalk Festival, typically held in April, has a budget of $8,000 and has an expected revenue of $5,000. Like the Wine Walk, the event does take several months to plan and has a few components that need to be taken on. This event, again, requires a committee to oversee the events. And the tasks do include the selling of squares on the sidewalk, marketing, sponsorships, contestant registration for the talent show that takes place, recruitment of judges for the talent show, and the oversight of the talent show itself. Excuse me 1 second. It's important to note that with the parklets and the closure on Mita, that this might change and adjust the number of squares that are to be sold on the sidewalk. Just want to mention that. Glendora Village in general does account for half of their budget being from their events and bringing foot traffic to the village. The events require the following: designated chair and committee, planning, setting up, oversight and cleanup, communication and coordination with the bid merchants, as well as bid member participation and volunteers. In the past year, it's important to note that a marketing consultant and event planner were needed. The marketing consultant is already contracted, but she was used additionally for other tasks and events. That was utilized last year. I believe there was a mentioning of not looking to do that this year, so that's something important to keep in mind. Even with hired assistants, events still required bid oversight through an event chair. An event chair is crucial to each of these events. Without one, an event may need to be canceled. Next slide, please. So the recommendation that staff is making is for the advisory board to discuss the upcoming remaining events, to see if they are feasible with the lack of participation, and to instruct how to proceed with the remaining scheduled events.
Okay, perfect. So I guess the discussion is in order here. What does everybody have to say about this?
So basically, we are saying we need people to chair these events. They can't occur. The city cannot take them on our own. We serve as the supporting in a supporting role, but not to oversee and take them on completely. So again, the Halloween walk, Kathy is heading that, and Jenna's still involved. Holiday stroll, the city, that's a joint effort with the city, and we can pretty much, I've already contracted the bathrooms and a photographer, and what else is it that we do? And the
Carriages.
candlelight carolers. We don't do the carriages for the holiday stroll because we have so many people, but in the Saturdays that follow, since we're talking about the events, I'll just let you guys know for the most part with that one, we can cover that. That's just calling the carolers, asking them to show up, calling Santa, asking them to show up. So that one is pretty easy to do. We can cover that for you this year for the most part. If anyone wants to be involved and know what's involved, we can do that as well. But really the three that we're going to need someone to step up on or consider just pausing or canceling is Small Business Saturday, Wine Walk, and the Chalk Festival. And, you know, and really kind of think about this and discuss it, because if you guys don't have anyone to chair those events, we're going to start preparing your budget for next year in January, or even later in December, we'll start putting it together. And if those are not going to be happening, then we might want to discuss what else are we going to do with the funding that we put aside. So, yeah, so this goes back to you guys to discuss and see how you want to handle it.
And I think Valerie didn't mention, there's a reserve amount right now, just unspent money of close to around $150,000 or something like that. So thinking about, you know, what activities the bid is able to, you know, commit to, that would affect really what the assessments need to be. So if it's only like the wine walk and the holiday stroll, then you can adjust your assessments accordingly.
I'm willing to help lead the wine walk.
And I would say if anyone else wants to help with the wine walk, it's a big ordeal. I don't know if you have a group or if you've reached out, but I'll help you. You know, I'll let you know what is needed.
Mhm.
But there were typically, I want to say, maybe four to five bid merchants that were assigned tasks to take on, so
Mhm.
that you're not having it all on your shoulders.
We are going to have the consulting company again, or the marketing company.
We could, and we can talk offline about that. There were some improvements that could have occurred. It all worked out in the end, but it was a little rockier than we wanted it to be.
Okay. And then my other thought would be, I think we could get rid of the Chalk Festival and Small Business Saturday and potentially experiment with some new events next year. I think a farmer's market would be fantastic for downtown Glendora. And I think before we go full scale doing like a weekly farmer's market, my suggestion would be that we test it a few times and we run basically like pop-up farmers markets and shoot for those in next summer. So maybe one in June, one in July, one in August. I think that would attract a lot of people consistently downtown. So as a business owner downtown, one of the things that I want to see more of is more people walking downtown, specifically people that don't normally come downtown. And I think having a more consistent community-oriented event would bring a lot more people to our businesses. And I think we get a lot of value to the businesses that way. The business is new. The Business Improvement District is the one that sponsors this event. I think they'd feel like, oh, that they do something. Because it sounds like that's kind of what I'm hearing, is that the city council is like, well, what do they do? So I think we could do a lot for the downtown with an event like that. And I would be happy to get involved in an event that aligns with my business so well.
Were you looking for volunteers right now for each and every event, or?
We kind of want, yes. So Matt has volunteered for the wine walk. And yes, we wanted, he recommended cancellation of Small Business Saturday and Chalk Festival. If you guys want to lead those, I mean, this is where you guys discuss. Yes. So we're asking for the three of you to discuss the future of those three events and whether or not, if you continue them, we need somebody to chair them.
I'm not super attached to canceling those other two events. So if you guys, I think it's fine. I think we could do less, do it better. But if you guys are really passionate about those events, let's do it.
I think there's three of us sitting up here. We can't even get people to fill the chairs here. So it's pretty hard to get people to be chairs or even get involved in helping with these events. So maybe we're at a point that we need to scale back, like Matt says, or something, I mean, I don't think we want to get rid of the wine walk. For sure, that's a big money maker. So I think we have to look at, financially, which ones make the most sense, and then maybe, look at some of the others and make a decision maybe to get away from those.
Well, I feel like there's a lot of people that look forward to the Chalk Festival. I mean, it's a family-oriented event, and there's a lot of participation from, kids and the community. So, I mean, I would be in favor of keeping that. Small Business Saturday is rather easy. I mean, I could take that on. That's, just about passing out mostly promotional materials to the businesses downtown, so I'll do that. And I'm also willing to do the holiday stroll if you need a chair for that as well.
Kathy, I'm sorry. Are you volunteering to do Chalk Festival? Or are you just talking about it?
Yeah, I'll volunteer to do Chalk Festival as well. Do it all. Well, there's still Friday Night Twilight.
Yeah, and that gets into the summer. So I think, and Matt, you mentioned the farmer's market for June, July, August. June is the only month in this fiscal year. I would say if that's something you really want to do, start looking into it. I know I can tell you to reach out to Crust and Crumble. They were interested in looking into that. Karen, talk to Karen. I can't remember one of her gals, what she wanted to put it on. So talk to her, and if you guys might want to work together and then you come to me with what you're proposing, we could come back to the board.
It's Heather also.
Heather, yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
Is Karen the mom? Heather's the daughter.
Heather works
Heather's
with
a
them,
friend
I
and
think.
works with them.
Okay, cool.
Mhm. Where do we go from here? Okay.
So I think I can think you guys can go ahead and say I'm not even sure if there's a motion. So I guess we're going to have Matt be the wine walk. Kathy's going to do Small Business Saturday and Chalk Festival. And that's what we needed. So
Okay.
And the holiday stroll, because that's coming up too.
sure, I will fill you in on holiday stroll stuff.
So we make a motion to approve this then?
You can make a motion to approve what I just said.
Okay.
Yes, that would be Board Member Klingler chairing Wine Walk, Board Member Jarvis chairing Small Business Saturday and Chalk Festival. Okay, motion.
I'll move to approve.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. That is a motion by Board Member Jarvis, second by Vice Chair Nolan. I'll take a roll call vote. Board Member Jarvis,
Yes.
Board Member Klingler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nolan.
Yes.
That passes 3-0. Thank you.
All right. So we move on to the consideration of extending the agreement with the marketing consultant, Mike Mack Agency. Invite Alicia again to report on this.
Okay, so I'm looking to discuss the consideration of extending the agreement with our consultant through Mike Mack Agency. They were contracted in 2018, and we've been using the same consultant ever since. It's been recommended to go ahead and use the same consultant for a long duration of time, just to go ahead and establish a relationship with the business merchants downtown, and just to create a better business relationship and partnership to create better events. The amendment number 3 to the contract, which was approved on September 30th, 22, basically includes 2 one-year extension options, which we're looking to discuss today. That would go ahead and put the contract for another year from October 1st, and it would expire on September 30th, 2022. This contract would include a scope of services that includes a website management, social media management, content creation, and graphic design, which she has been doing for quite some time. Again, the contract would be 12-month services, a total of $12,000 for the fiscal year. She would be paid $1,000 per month, but she has been being paid. The wine walk would be an additional $1,200, putting the entire payment at $13,200 for the fiscal year. So again, we're looking at discussing the same contract for an additional year, exhausting one of the options, one of two options.
This is the same person that did the wine walk this year? Is that correct?
This is not the event coordinator. This is the marketing person.
Got it.
So
Okay.
she updates your website and maintains the Facebook social media site. So, and then for the wine walk, she does a dedicated wine walk page or website.
Does she usually not come to meetings where her?
I was thinking the same thing. And you say.
Yeah,
about-
we didn't ask her to be here. It's just this was part of her agreement. If you guys want to push it to next month, if you want her to give a statement, but we've been using her for several years. And last year when we renewed her agreement, instead of having to go through putting together a new agreement every year, we just put an option to extend it for 3 years at the same cost. So we fixed your fee so that the fee wouldn't, be increased. We were able to set it in fixed for 3 years.
What would we be able to table this? Because I did have some questions for her, so.
You? Okay. If you'd like to, we can do month to month and
Okay.
ask her to be here.
Yeah.
If that's what the three of you.
Well, I appreciate what Alicia said, but one of the things is to keep her on board because she already knows everybody in that. If she was sitting in this room, I wouldn't even know who she was. I can't say she's ever been into my business. So,
Okay.
I don't know that. And it seems to me that all we see is reposts. You never see any new creativity from them. It's just whatever somebody else posts, that's what gets on the site. Nothing else ever gets in there,
Okay.
Those are my comments. So maybe we should have her in here to discuss
Do
it.
you, if you're not happy, there's the option not to extend, but then that would mean we'd have to go out and get some bids and get some, and we don't know what the cost. I mean, we know when we hired her, one of the reasons was that her fee was within your budget. And so that's something to consider also, is that these costs, they can vary greatly. But if that's what you guys want to do, we haven't looked at others since 2018. So,
Or maybe we just talk to her and say, we want things a little differently or something, I don't know if that's an option.
okay,
So table it till next month.
can do that.
So what do we do here? Look for a motion on that.
Yeah. So really the motion is to approve the tabling of the item of the agreement for marketing consultant McMack Agency to the November meeting.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion on that.
I'll move to table.
The
till
item till
November.
next month, yeah.
I'll second it.
Thank you. That's a motion by Board Member Jarvis, a second by Vice Chair Nolan. I'll take a roll call vote. Board Member Jarvis,
Yes.
Board Member Klingler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nolan.
Yes.
That passes 3-0. Thank you.
At this point brings us to the board and staff closing comments. I invite all the members of the board and our staff to have, if you have any closing comments.
When will we be bringing in another bid member?
I was going to give an update.
Oh, you are? Okay, good. Fantastic.
Thank you. So we are taking to the council recommendation to consider appointments and or schedule interviews. There is one person that has submitted an application for bid, and the recommendation for that will be, since there's one vacancy and one applicant for them to appoint, but that won't be completed until next Tuesday. So that's going to be up on Tuesday. If you guys would like to join into the meeting and see what the outcome is, I'll have an email sent out to you all with the outcome of that after the meeting.
Any other comments?
I'm looking forward to the Halloween walk. It should be fun this year.
All right. Okay, I guess the meeting is adjourned at 9:20 a.m.